I found out my girlfriend self-terminated our baby on purpose because her mom and dad didn't give her enough attention, and now I can't trust her in building a family anymore. Posted by you/no_situation_9708. I, 28M, have been dating my girlfriend, 26F, for 4 years. She has always told me she wanted children, though we never actively tried for one. I never pressured her into having a baby, it was more her idea. I make enough, and we own a home, so having a baby is something we can manage. To clarify, I'm not mad at her about this. I'm extremely concerned, and I feel like everything she said about wanting a baby was a lie. Termination is also legal up to 21 weeks of pregnancy in our state. She told me she was pregnant, was experiencing symptoms, and had taken a test. She was happy and excited. I was happy as well and offered to make an appointment for her. We went together, and she was confirmed to be 6 weeks pregnant. We started planning, and she even told her friends and family. She ended up having a miscarriage at around 9 weeks. It was sudden, and she was upset, so I comforted her. It seemed very tough for her, and I did my best to try and make her feel better. Later, I had to retrieve something from a drawer in our bedroom, and I found some herbs hidden under a bag. It was pennyroyal and mugwort. I was confused because I've heard of pennyroyal being used to induce self-terminations. I asked her about it, and she immediately became defensive, saying she didn't know where it came from. I kept asking her about it, and eventually, she admitted she had used it to cause the miscarriage. She was crying, and I was just in shock. I asked her why. I told her she didn't have to lie to me about it, and I'm confused because she was the one who really wanted a baby. She didn't give me an answer. I told her we needed to go to the hospital to make sure she wasn't hurt since pennyroyal is toxic, but she kept refusing. It's been a few days, and she seems fine. I've been trying to talk to her about it, but she just says she doesn't want to discuss it. Apparently, she has been telling her friends and family that she had a miscarriage and has been accepting their condolences. She's avoiding the topic, and I don't want to push her anymore. I'm not sure what to do because I'm worried she might be having some kind of mental breakdown or something. Eventually, I told her she shouldn't talk to me about having a baby again because I can't trust her on this anymore. She was upset when she heard that, but what else could I say in this situation? This might make me a huge jerk, but in the back of my mind, I've been wondering if she might have done this for attention from her friends and family. I don't know what to do, and I feel like a horrible person for even thinking these things. Update 1 day later. Firstly, for some context, we have a Planned Parenthood that specializes in terminations about 5 minutes away. I understand people thinking she didn't want to get a termination because of protesters. I completely understand. I drive by that specific place every single day for work. I have seen no protesters. It's usually empty except for a few cars on the side of the road. But I still understand why she wouldn't want a medical termination after reading the comments. I asked her why, what was her goal here? She was trying really hard to avoid the conversation and left the room. I apologize if this makes me sound like a jerk, but I told her that if we can't have a conversation about this, I have to end the relationship. She came back in and said the reason she did this was because she never felt like her family gave her enough attention in life and didn't feel supported by them, so she wanted to tell them she had a miscarriage so they would feel bad for her. I was confused because she could have just gotten a medical termination and lied about it instead of harming her body with a toxic herb. I asked her about that, and she told me she wanted to have the experience of an actual miscarriage. I was so confused and in shock that I didn't say much else because all of this just sounded crazy to me. She told me she didn't want me to be mad at her, and she didn't want to break up. She was literally begging me not to break up with her. I asked her if there was any chance the baby wouldn't have been mine. She said no. I told her she needs to get therapy ASAP. Thankfully, I make enough to afford therapy, so I told her I would pay for it if she would just please go. She agreed. I also told her she needs to go to the hospital, and I shared all of your comments about the risks of sepsis, liver damage, and kidney damage. That seemed to scare her into agreeing to go to the hospital to get checked out. We went to the hospital last night, and thankfully, she is okay. Apparently, she drank about 1 cup of it a day for a few days. I also found out she was taking some other things, high doses of vitamin C, turmeric, and parsley. That's pretty much it for now, but I'm not sure where to go from here. I love her, and I do want to be with her, but all of this is so out of the blue. Thanks for all the comments on the last post. If anything else happens, I'll make another update. Second update 2 days later. A lot has happened since my last post, but everything is calmer now. I'm hoping this will be my final update. Apologies in advance, as this is going to be long. In my last post, I mentioned that I told her she needed to go to therapy as soon as possible. I even said I would pay for it and handle everything. I just hoped, for the love of God, that she would please go to therapy. That was the only thing I wanted. I haven't set anything up yet because she told me she doesn't want to go to therapy right now. She said she will never do what she did again and doesn't believe she needs therapy. I went back and forth with her on this, but she was very insistent about not wanting therapy. I told her that I can't move forward in this relationship if she doesn't go to therapy. She argued with me about it and said that if I loved her, I would stay in the relationship regardless, saying it wasn't even that big of a deal. Hearing that made me pretty pissed because not only did she purposely miscarry the baby we had planned for, but she also harmed herself for no reason, in her words, to experience an actual miscarriage. I can't even trust her anymore. I was considering telling her parents at this point, and I accidentally brought it up out of worry for her mental health and because I was pissed off. She begged me, got on the ground and begged me, not to tell them. I took her word for it because I didn't want her to lose her mind even more over this. I told her that I absolutely have to leave this relationship. I explained that it's not my responsibility anymore because this whole situation has honestly been making me lose my mind too. I had been holding it back, but I just can't take it anymore. Also, yesterday, before this fight, she publicly stated on Facebook that she had a miscarriage and was torn up about it, once again accepting condolences in the comments. I brought it up to her, and she told me the same thing she said in my last post, that she pretty much just wanted to feel important to her friends and family. She was so nonchalant about it and honestly seemed to think I wouldn't care. I told her to stop posting about it and to stop telling people. During the fight, I told her seriously that I can't be with her anymore. I said she could stay here for now or go back to her parents. At this point, she was lying on the ground crying. I had my phone ready because my gut was telling me she might do something to herself. While she was packing in the other room, she would come out and suddenly hug me out of nowhere, saying that if I was breaking up with her, she wanted one last final hug. The wildest thing was when she came out of the room wearing one of my shirts, a shirt she hadn't been wearing before. She took it off right in front of me and handed it back, saying, "Here's your shirt back." I have no idea what she was trying to do. She finally ended up leaving and went to her parents. Right before she left, she was crying, and I think it started to hit her that I was actually serious. She kept messaging and calling me constantly, saying everything from wanting to fix things together, to agreeing to therapy now, to promising she'd never do what she did again. I've been ignoring all of it. I realize this is no longer my responsibility, and her parents can take care of her now. As I feared, she apparently did try to harm herself. Her mom messaged me about it, saying her daughter is at the hospital. I assume she's on a hold now because she tried to unalive herself. Thankfully, she is physically fine. That's the end of it, and I believe this will be my final update. I am not going back to her. I'm going to try to stop thinking about all of this and focus on moving forward. Also, I plan to get a good lock for my door. Thanks for all the advice on my last post. Edit. I ended up telling her parents. I shared the messages between her and me, took photos of the herbs she used, and told them everything. Thankfully, they didn't accuse me of anything or react drastically. Instead, they thanked me for telling them. They said they would inform the hospital about what I shared. I'm not entirely sure what's happening at the moment or what will happen next. Third update 1 month later. It's been over a month since this happened, and thankfully, things haven't been crazy. I was in pretty bad shock during this, and it started to hit me, so I've been seeing a therapist about it. As for my ex, her mom has been updating me on her, mostly because of how concerned I was for her. I honestly thought about blocking her entire family because I wanted to separate myself completely and never think about her again, but I decided to keep her mom on my phone for updates at the time. She was in a psych ward for 2 weeks. While I haven't been told a specific diagnosis, she was apparently in psychosis. Her mom has told me she is taking medication and is doing better. The effed up thing is that her mom has recently been trying to get me to get back together with her, saying her daughter would be a lot happier if I went back to her. I straight up blocked her. I do not want to experience that again, even if she is getting counseling and is on medication. Absolutely not. I don't know why her mom is doing that. Maybe my ex is giving her a hard time over this? I'm not sure. Other than that, it's been calm. I've come to the realization that I'm a lot happier without her in my life, and I want it to stay that way. I'm going to stay single for the time being and just focus on myself. Thanks for all the advice on my other posts. Commenter. The mother's only priority is her daughter. She knows that if you forgive her, your ex won't have to spend much time processing the true depths of what she did because she won't face as many consequences, which could help stabilize her faster. It would also lessen the burden the mother has to deal with if you step back in to help care for her. Neither of those reasons is fair to you, but they are understandable. Blocking her is the right choice. She doesn't have your best interests in mind, only hers and her daughter's. You can hope that your ex is well, but it's not your responsibility to ensure it at all. Good luck moving on from this mess.